that's definitely been moved. Well, that's about as creepy as it gets. Not only are we changing spots, but we're definitely changing the story. That's for sure. Crow's got some sort of food over here. They're not too happy. What's up, everybody? Thank you for choosing the video. Welcome to the channel. We got crows hanging out. I love crows, they're so awesome. But welcome to an episode of Storytime Podcast. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't want to film here. I filmed the first episode here, but we're gonna get into it because that's today's story. This literally just happened, and it's by far the creepiest thing that's ever happened to me. So yeah, I'm gonna take a second and kind of cool down a little bit, and then we'll get into it. So let's do it. I'll tell you, I've been nursing a blister on my foot for the last day and a half now, and I wanted to go. That's why I went to the spot that I went to in the beginning. I wanted to go to my new spot because I really like it there, but my foot just wouldn't let me when I got to here. This is where I kind of take a break, is I guess the point. So once I got to here, my foot was like, you're not hiking that far, it's not happening. But I'll tell you, I basically ran through the trail to get away from that spot. And with all the adrenaline, my foot, it didn't hurt at all. I didn't even feel it. I was like walking as quickly as I could. And now that I've been kind of hanging out and the adrenaline's come down, oh, my foot hurts a lot. It's kind of funny. I'm gonna have to baby at home, that's for sure. Okay, so here goes. As you just saw in the beginning of the video, I hiked out to a spot where I was actually trying to come up with a name for it, but I don't think I'm going back there now. I'm not gonna lie. But I had hiked out to a spot that I go and film at, and honestly, I had got there, my plan was to kind of take a break and cool down and kind of get ready to film. So I hung my bag up on the tree. I grabbed my tripod off the bag, and as I was extending the legs, I noticed somebody coming down the trail, and I was like, oh, okay, well, you know, it happens. So I kept extending the legs to my tripod, and I looked back over, and they were just kind of creeping along the trail very slowly. Definitely not hiking, put it that way. Like when you're hiking, you have a pace that you're following, and you know, yeah, I had a backpack on, that's about it, with clothing obviously, but no water or anything, just a backpack with a sort of sweatsuit on. And he creeping along the trail, and then when he gets to the spot where I am, where it kind of opens up, he looks over at me and just gives me this look of I don't know about you, but I can tell bad vibes when I feel them. And I just kind of nodded and smiled, and he just kind of looked at me and was creeping along the trail, and then kept going. And so I was like, okay, I'm gonna give it a little bit of time and, you know, just wait. I don't want people to walk through while I'm filming, so I'll just give them some time, let them get down the trail before I start filming. So at this point, like I said, I had some pretty bad vibes about it. It was a strange interaction. And so I kind of got a little paranoid, and I was like, I'm just gonna wait for a while and, like I said, let him go on. And I waited a couple minutes or so, and I just kind of walked over to the trail and peeked my head to see if anybody was there. And the guy was standing not, 30, 40 feet from where I was setting up. And he was scratching his head, and he was kind of looking around like he didn't know what to do. He didn't understand what to do. And so I was like, okay, this is getting weird, is the point. And so I kind of watched, and then he turned and he walked down the trail a bit further, and then he would stop and he would kind of look. Oh, plane. Sorry about that. Had to wait for a plane to go by. So yeah, he was standing there scratching his head, and then turned and went down the trail a little bit further, and then he'd stop and he'd kind of, in my opinion, it looked like he was debating something. And believe me, it and so I was like, okay, I wasn't even focused on filming. Now I'm gonna wait now, because I had a really bad feeling. And so I sat down and I waited. I was drinking some water, and sure enough, I see his feet is the point coming through the bush along the trail. And I'm like, okay, if he's walking back along the trail, I'm out, is the point. That's just way creepy to me, and I'm not staying here. And sure enough, I see feet coming, and then there he is again. And again, he walked very slowly along the trail as he passed me. And I again gave him a nod, and I smiled, and he just looked at me like, you know, I can't explain it other than like it was the vibes weren't right on the way that he looked at me. And he kept going down the trail very slowly. I can't like stress that enough, like how slow he was walking. But honestly, I can't stress how slow he was walking, because it made me extremely uncomfortable. Like I said, just had a backpack on. He wasn't hiking, is the point. And so he keeps going down the trail a little bit, but I can still see him. And he's just standing on the trail. And he was doing something with his hands. I don't know what it was. I couldn't see because of the bush, but I could see him standing there. And so I just stood at my bag, like I was drinking water, or, you know, like I was trying to look like I was doing something, but I was keeping an eye on him. And then he just stood there. And I was like, okay, well, first of all, if he comes back this way, I'm leaving either way now, because he's standing there doing nothing on the trail. And then he walks a bit further down the trail, and I was like, the second that I can't see him anymore, I'm bolting in the opposite direction and getting out of here. And the blue jay, ADHD. But so I stood by my bag, and my tripod was set up with you on it and everything. And like I said, the second he walked and I couldn't see him anymore, I unraveled my bag from the tree, and I just grabbed the tripod and booked it out of there as fast as I could. And like I said, that my foot, hiking out here, my foot was like, yeah, you're not going to the spot, like you'd find a closer spot. And when I was hiking out, boyo, I didn't feel anything in my foot. My foot was like, not the time. But I'll tell you, it hurts now though. Now that the adrenaline's gone, I'm gonna have to go home and baby my foot again. Maybe give it a day, because that was intense. These ravens or crows, sorry, really keeping an eye on me. I love it. They have some sort of food or something here, because they all took off when I got here. And we're all hollering. Well, alright everybody. That pretty much sums up this episode. Honestly, I told myself that I wouldn't film here again for the podcast. And I mean, I'm kind of glad that it's here, to be honest, because of what happened. And I could actually get a video out and a story, for that matter. Today, it's been pretty crazy already. It's been a crazy day for me. I'm not gonna lie. But that's gonna sum it up. So I'd like to thank you for watching. If you enjoy, either my content or the podcast, let me know below. Leave a comment. I always enjoy reading them. And yeah, I think I'm gonna get on out of here while I have the energy. I'm gonna have to work through my foot, unfortunately, but it happens. So yeah, I'd like to thank you for watching. I'd like to thank all of my subscribers, everybody that watches. Thank you very much. Pretty please, if you're not subscribed, hit subscribe. It really helps me out. My goal is 200, and I'm only about 70 away, I want to say, something like that. So pretty please hit that subscribe button. And yeah, we'll see you on the next one. Cheers. I'm keeping my eye on that trail, I'm not gonna lie.